What if the couple that made millions of fans fall in love on screen suddenly became the center of a proposal story years later? Imagine the headline appearing on your screen. Shen Yue said yes to Dylan Wang. Fans would probably stop scrolling immediately. Some would celebrate, some would question everything, and others would be desperately searching for proof. But here's the part that makes this story even more interesting. Was there actually a proposal? The answer is not what the headline might make you think. There has been no verified public announcement confirming that Dylan Wang proposed to Shen Yue, and there is no confirmed evidence that the two are engaged. So why does the idea feel so believable and emotionally powerful to so many fans? To understand that, we have to go back to where their story became unforgettable. Meteor Garden. When Shen Yue and Dylan Wang appeared together in the drama, their characters quickly became one of the most talked about young couples in Chinese television. Shen Yue played Dong Shankai, bringing warmth, sincerity, determination, and vulnerability to the character. Dylan Wang played Dao Mingxi, the intense and unforgettable young man whose personality seemed almost impossible to ignore. And then there was their chemistry. That chemistry was one of the biggest reasons audiences became so emotionally invested in their story. But here is something fans sometimes forget. The drama ended. The characters moved on. And Shen Yue and Dylan Wang continued building completely separate careers. Yet somehow, the fascination never disappeared. Years later, their names can still trigger an immediate reaction among fans who remember the drama. Why? Because for many viewers, Meteor Garden wasn't simply another television series. It was the beginning of a fandom. It introduced audiences to two young actors who would eventually become much bigger names in the entertainment industry. Shen Yue continued taking on new roles and exploring different sides of herself as an actress. Dylan Wang's career also expanded dramatically, allowing him to move beyond the character that first made him internationally recognizable. But despite everything that changed, one thing remained surprisingly strong: the nostalgia. And that nostalgia is exactly what makes a proposal story involving these two so emotionally powerful. Now imagine this. Not a massive award ceremony, not a crowded red carpet, not thousands of cameras flashing. Instead, imagine a quiet moment. Dylan Wang approaches Shen Yue. There is no dramatic announcement, no huge audience, just a simple question and a moment that suddenly feels much bigger than everything around them. For a fan who watched their characters fall in love on screen, that imaginary scene would feel almost unreal. Shen Yue looks surprised. The moment becomes quiet, and then comes the answer fans have imagined for years. Yes, that single word would be enough to send social media into chaos. But there is an important reality check here. That proposal scene is a fan-created scenario, not a confirmed real-life event. There is currently no reliable public evidence establishing that Dylan Wang actually proposed to Shen Yue. And that distinction matters, because celebrity rumors can move incredibly fast. A photograph can become a rumor. A short video can become a theory. A playful interaction can become a relationship announcement. And before anyone has time to check the original information, thousands of people may already be discussing something as if it were confirmed. That is exactly why fans should separate imagination from fact. But does that mean the fantasy isn't fun? Not at all. In fact, the continued interest in Shen Yue and Dylan Wang proves just how memorable their on-screen story remains. Think about how unusual that is. A drama can finish years ago, yet audiences can still remember the characters, the emotional moments, the chemistry, and the actors who played them. That is the power of a memorable story. And Meteor Garden clearly left that kind of impression. For Shen Yue, the years since the drama have brought new acting opportunities, public appearances, and different projects. Fans have watched her grow from the actress they first knew as Dong Shankai into someone with a broader and more mature career. Dylan Wang has experienced his own transformation. The actor who became widely recognized as Dao Mingxi has continued expanding his career and taking on projects that show audiences different sides of his abilities. And that creates an interesting situation. Fans aren't looking at two newcomers anymore. They're looking at two established stars whose careers continued long after the story that first connected them. That may be why every unexpected interaction, appearance, or mention involving the two can attract so much attention. And then come the questions. Could they work together again? Could they appear at the same event? Could another project bring them into the same frame? Could fans ever see that familiar chemistry again? Nobody can predict what will happen. But those unanswered questions are exactly what keep people watching. And there is another important point. Shen Yue and Dylan Wang have their own lives, careers, and personal boundaries outside the expectations of fans. Fans can celebrate their screen chemistry. They can enjoy old memories. They can support their individual careers. But a rumor does not become a fact simply because thousands of people repeat it. That is especially important when the subject involves someone's private life. The most enjoyable part of fandom doesn't have to be believing every romantic rumor. Sometimes it's simply remembering why you loved the story in the first place. And that's where the idea of this proposal becomes interesting. Perhaps the emotional reaction isn't really about a real engagement. Perhaps it is about what the imagined proposal represents. For many longtime viewers, it represents the ending they once wished their favorite characters could have. Dong Shankai and Dao Mingxi captured the imagination of an entire generation of drama viewers. So when fans imagine Shen Yue and Dylan Wang saying yes to each other in real life, they're often connecting today's stars with the unforgettable characters they played years ago. That's why one fictional scenario can create such a strong emotional reaction. But let's return to the question that started everything. Did Shen Yue really say yes to Dylan Wang? Based on publicly confirmed information, there is no verified announcement proving that Dylan Wang proposed to Shen Yue, and there is no confirmed engagement between the two. So the headline should be understood as a fan-style romantic scenario, not a confirmed celebrity announcement. And perhaps that's the most important part of the story. Because the real reason people continue talking about Shen Yue and Dylan Wang isn't necessarily because of a proposal. It's because their screen story created a connection that has lasted far beyond the original drama. Their careers changed. Their projects changed. Their public lives evolved. But the memories remained. And years after Meteor Garden, fans can still hear their names together and immediately remember the chemistry that made Dong Shankai and Dao Mingxi so unforgettable. That is a powerful legacy. So, until there is an actual official announcement from the actors or their representatives, the proposal remains exactly what it is, a beautiful fan fantasy. But if Shen Yue and Dylan Wang ever do surprise everyone with another major project, reunion, or unexpected appearance together, you already know what will happen. Fans will notice. Social media will explode. And everyone will be asking the same question. Could this be the reunion we've been waiting for? For now, though, the best thing fans can do is enjoy the memories, support both actors individually, and appreciate the story that brought them together on screen. Because sometimes, one unforgettable drama is all it takes to create a connection with fans that lasts for years. And maybe that is the real magic of Shen Yue and Dylan Wang. Not a confirmed proposal, not a confirmed romance, but a story so memorable that fans are still imagining their perfect ending long after the cameras stopped rolling.